The original Beyblade series for me is the ultimate nostalgia trip. It's a show about spinning tops, but is presented in a way that Beyblade is a massive sport. And in this world where the Beyblade series takes place, Beyblading is the top sport, just like how football is the #1 sport in majority of the countries in our own world. Some countries will have cricket as the #1 sport, others will have basketball or baseball or whatever. But in the world where Tyson, Max, Ray, Kai and Kenny reside, that world has Beyblade as its undisputed #1 sport. I'm going to be mainly talking about the original dub for the Beyblade series, and also when I talk about the original Beyblade series, I'm talking about the first 3 seasons involving Tyson and his crew, meaning the first season of Beyblade, Beyblade V-Force, and as well as Beyblade G Revolution, which is my personal favorite out of the 3. I'm not going to be doing any in-depth analysis of all 3 seasons or any character deep dives. If you guys want me to do that, no problem, I can do that. But I just wanted to make this video because recently I've gone back and watched the 3 original Beyblade seasons with my little brother, who obviously never grew up with Beyblade. He didn't even know what Beyblade was, but now after watching Beyblade, he can't get enough of it and he wants his own Dranza Gigs Beyblade now. And when I was watching back, you have to remember, I didn't watch this show for years. So when I went back and watched it, I was surprised how serious the show is, when traditionally, a show like this would just be catered for kids to sell toys and wouldn't have a serious plot. But no, it's not just about the Beyblade and big beasts that carry them. The show is about redemption, never giving up, the brotherhood of being in a team and to keep going even if you lose. One of the best lessons for me when I watched it back as a kid, and this lesson stuck with me forever, is when Tyson was fighting off against Miguel in Beyblade G Revolution, episode 17 to be precise. Miguel is part of the Barthez battalion, who have cheated their way to the Beyblade World Championships, and even in the tournament itself, they have been cheating throughout. They previously beat Ray's team, the White Tiger X team, with Miguel using a blade that has a secret weapon when unleashed, which is illegal to use. So when Miguel was battling Tyson, he was using that secret weapon and was cheating throughout that match with orders from his coach Barthez himself. It's not all Miguel's fault. The guy is clearly conflicted even when he defeated Ray in the previous match. After that match, he was questioning himself and said that he doesn't feel right. Barthez was raising Miguel's hands up and was calling him a hero after he defeated Ray. And Miguel was saying to himself, how comes he doesn't feel like a hero? We then fast forward to the match against Tyson, and what Tyson says really struck with me. He was saying losing is also part of the thrill of the sport of Beyblading. Every time you Beyblade, there's a chance you will lose, but when you do lose, that loss will make you want to be a better Beyblader. So you practice and get better until you start winning. As long as you give it your best, and even if you lose, you have nothing to be ashamed of. This is such a beautiful message that can be applied to literally anything in life. This message isn't just limited to kids, but can also be projected to us adults as well. Tyson is essentially saying, you will lose. There's every chance of you losing, but you take that loss and grow and become better. Us adults can relate to it in our own careers/job searches. How many job interviews do you go to and you get rejected for at least 90% of them? There might be a qualification that you are missing, or you may not even have enough work experience. Facing these rejections will only want you to better yourself into getting the job experience as well as the specific qualifications to get you in a better position, as well as bettering yourself into eventually getting that job to progress further in your career. The message can be applied to both kids and adults regarding sports. You don't have to be a professional football player, basketball player, or whatever. The message of losing and then wanting to get better applies for all levels. In my country, football is the biggest sport. For us adults, there's a normal local league as well as a veterans league, and for kids, they have their own league as well. And that message of giving it your all and wanting to be better after a loss still applies to us competing in our own leagues. The messaging in Beyblade lasts for a lifetime, and it deserves more praise. Yes, it has the typical friendship lessons as well, but I feel it drills more of the sports team narrative and the brotherhood that comes with being in a team, which is what separates this series compared to the others whilst growing up. Because if you look back at the old classics like your original Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball Z and Digimon highlighted the friendship between the Digimon and its partner in order for the Digimon to digivolve into a higher form. Yu-Gi-Oh!, whilst they had a group of friends cheering each other on, it was mainly the friendship between the pharaoh Pyro and Yugi's friendship with Joey. Whenever those friendship speeches came on, these two friendships were the heart and soul of those speeches. In Dragon Ball Z, Goku transformed into a Super Saiyan against Frieza, which is probably the most iconic transformation of all time. But where did it stem from? It was Frieza who killed Goku's childhood best friend Krillin, which sparked that transformation. Words were not needed. We knew how Goku felt through his facial expressions, the music being played in the background, the atmosphere surrounding this whole moment exemplified what the loss of a friend will do to someone. These are all excellent in showing and telling kids how important friends are. But with Beyblade, it's even more special because in the first season, we had Kai, who is the fan favorite character of the original Beyblade series. Kai was selected to be the captain of the Blade Breakers, but he always kept his distance with the team. He never really wanted to be part of the team. He had an ego, which is why he secretly looked down on the Blade Breakers. Don't get me wrong, he helped them out when needed, such as when Rey was blading against Mariah in the Asian tournament, and you can clearly see Rey's feelings are stopping him from going all out against Mariah. But it was Kai who stepped in and said to him to wake up and advised that battles are won with the head and not with the heart. Or even the time when he defeated one of the Dark Bladers when the Mummy Big Beast, I'll just call it that, took Dragoon, Trigger and Drasil hostage. Kai came in and saved the day, so even before he turned his back on the Blade Breakers, he still had that softness towards them, even though he clearly looked down on them. The arrogance was shown in episode 45 of season 1, the Breaking the Ice episode, where you can see Kai's arrogance and ego on full display against the Blade Breakers. There was one point where he even says, and I quote, "The day when I became a Blade Breaker." He says it with such disgust in his voice. It's like he's ashamed to have ever been a Blade Breaker, so now he's going out of his way to defeat them and steal their Bit Beasts away. But ultimately, Kai failed when the Blade Breakers showed how powerful they are as a team. This humbled Kai as Kai was stuck in the frozen lake. The Blade Breakers pulled him back, saving him, and ever since then, Kai was training up Tyson before his final fight against Tala. He also gave Rey valuable advice when he needed it against Brian. Kai realized that the Brotherhood of the Blade Breakers will always be there for him. Even if he turns his back on them, they will be there for him. This was Kai's redemption, and it only goes from strength to strength. In Beyblade V-Force, Rey was struggling to fight against Selima, and by the time Rey and Selima fought, Max already had Drasil sealed away and captured by Team Psychic. So Kai, being the leader that he is, in order to snap Rey out of his slumber, he emphasized that Selima and her friends stole Drasil from Max, their teammate, making Rey feel like shit and that he has to win to not only to save Trigger from being captured, but also to fight for Max, their teammate. This proved that Kai did learn back in season 1 the value and the brotherhood of the Blade Breakers, which resonates with all of us as we all have groups of friends that we trust as if they're our brothers. The messaging behind Beyblade, the redemption and the lessons of the friendship and the growth of the characters, and it's realistic as well. In Beyblade G Revolution, when the Blade Breakers split up to form their own teams to compete in the World Championships, this tested their friendship, especially for Tyson, and it showed that friendships in a competitive environment will be tested, keeping the show grounded and realistic. When the characters lose, it feels real, as well as the devastation the characters feel. You want them to get better and improve as well. It's as if you are also part of the Blade Breakers. Like for instance, when Kai lost to Spencer in episode 48 in the first season, you were devastated for Kai, but then when you see the Blade Breakers comforting Kai, you feel reassured that they will get Dranza back for Kai. They weren't having a go at Kai for losing, they were encouraging him and saying what a match he displayed. The Blade Breakers showed to us how a sports team is meant to be, and they even showed us how even if there is a rift within the team, there are always ways to revolve that rift, which will only make the team's brotherhood and trust even stronger, as we saw with Kai in the first season. G Revolution is my favorite out of the 3 original seasons, as the Beyblade battles really went full Dragon Ball Z. Out of the Blade Breakers, I feel Rey had the best matches to watch. Even when he does his Gatling Claw maximum attack, you see lightning come from the sky as if he's going Super Saiyan. He had an epic battle against Tyson, Kai, Crusher, and of course the famous individual fatal 4-way between Rey, Max, Rick, and Lee during the World Championships. The best battle is hands down Kai vs Tyson. That was a classic. But overall, I think Ray had the best battles out of everyone. They were just such a spectacle. A special shout out needs to be done to the background music as well. This for me is probably the most iconic background music of all time. The songs Hang On, I'm Not Going Down, Always Be in the Game, Round After Round, All Across the Nation, all of them are absolute bangers. The music elevates the epicness of the battle. One example from the top of my head is in Beyblade V-Force, episode 45, Zeo vs Ozuma. Two characters outside of the Blade Breakers, and for me, this was my favorite battle out of all of them in Season 2 Beyblade V-Force. Zeo using Flaming Cerberus and Ozuma using Flash Leopard, and this is where the music comes in. Whilst they're both battling, Always Be in the Game started playing, and oh my days, I can only speak for myself, but the music added made it feel like this is the epic grand finale. This felt more like the finale than the Tyson vs Zeo match. They're both screaming their attacks. When Zeo used Chain Storm, it looked like Zeo was doing a Kamehameha as his finishing move. This battle was just epic, and the music added made it feel like you were watching Dragon Ball Z. But it's not just these signature tracks, it's the actual background music itself, which I love as well. There's a playlist on YouTube with the background music there. If you type in Beyblade OST Restoration on YouTube, you will find all the tracks there. My personal favorite is Restoration Track 2. It's just so peaceful and wholesome. It takes me back straight to the early 2000s, and it reminds me of my childhood growing up. The music just instantly reminds me of these great characters, and that is the biggest reason why I love the original series, because these characters were me and my friends growing up. We used to play in football competitions and in leagues. We always wanted to improve our game and be better. This is what the Blade Breakers taught us. They showed us how to be a team and how to resolve problems within the team. The way the Blade Breakers keep practicing their blade blading skills in the streets, that's how we used to practice our footballing skills on the streets. Playing football on concrete football pitches, playing foot tennis or goal-to-goal or knockouts, just endless practice to be better. And I'm sure for a lot of you guys, you had your own sport that you used to play when you were a kid and used to practice a lot in order to get better. Beyblade takes you back to that time of innocence and just that fun time during your childhood. The characters are relatable, the show teaches you lessons that can be applied to both adults and kids. The battles themselves are epic, and the music is just too good. I love the original Beyblade series, and I wish we had a continuation like how we saw with Digimon. We saw the Digizestan kids grow up from high school to college. I wish the original Blade Breakers had that same treatment. I know we have the ending of when Kai and Tyson are older and their sons do battle, but I wanted to see what happened in between those moments. But I guess it's all up to us what we think happened during those years. Thank you for watching this video. If you want me to do season reviews or even character analysis, let me know, but I had to make this video. I have not watched any other Beyblade series after the original trilogy series, and I'm sure they're great as I see a lot of videos hyping up those other seasons, but I hardly see the original trilogy seasons being hyped up and getting the appreciation that they deserve. So I felt it was my duty to give them the love and attention that they need.